wonderful town. The Bronx is up and the Battery's down. The people ride in a hole in the ground. New York, New York, it's a wonderful town.
And now, it's time for Talkin New York Sports with Billy C. and Brooklyn Mike, part of the BillyCBoxing.com network of programming. And here's your hosts, Billy C. and Brooklyn Mike.
Thank you, Jeremy C. We're coming at you from the Billy C. studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero. And it's time for Talkin New York Sports with Brooklyn Mike and Billy C. Or should I say Billy C. and Brooklyn Mike? I don't know, but Brooklyn Mike's on the line right now. What's up, brother?
Good morning, brother. How you doing today?
I should be doing a little. I should be doing a little better with the way I'm. I think I'm dyslexic this morning.
That's okay.
Yeah,
we'll get through it.
I tell you, what a beautiful connection. You sure you're not standing behind me or something today?
I might be. I might be. You know, I just went hunting last week, so I'm very sneaky right now. You know.
Oh, what did you go and did you want to go and kick some mean ass deer butt or what?
Well, unfortunately, the deer are a lot smarter than I am, and I came home empty-handed.
Yeah, I tell you, I had some venison not too long ago. I don't know if I told you, but I'm pretty good friends with Randy St. Clair, who happens to be the pitching coach for the Florida Marlins. As a matter of fact, I talked to him about coming on the show, so he's real excited. So we're going to get him on the show really soon. But anyway, I was up at his place, and this guy's an avid hunter. And when he comes back from baseball, if he's not in the postseason, the first thing he starts doing is hunting. He does muzzle loading, then he does bow and everything else. He's got some great 300 acres of property up in the mountains in the Adirondacks. But anyway, for lunch, the guy, his wife Liz, whipped up some venison. Now, I'm not a big venison fan, really. At least I didn't think so. Let me tell you, man, it tasted, I can't tell you how delicious it was. It was almost like I was eating a flank steak. Like that was, it was just, I don't think I've had anything so succulent in a long time. It was delicious stuff, man. Oh, what did I lose you, Mike? Looks like I lost Mike already. You know, we were just bragging about the great connection here that we had. But anyway, you know, and I was asking Randy St. Clair what the deal was, and he was telling me, you know, it's all in the preparation. Well, we got some issues here with the system, so I'm going to have to get that started. But anyway, I was trying to talk a little about venison. Not that I am a big pro or con for hunting. You know, as far as hunting goes, I mean, I don't have anything against it. I really don't. As long as you follow the rules, you know, get your license and do all those things, and don't be poaching. You know, I don't have a problem with it, you know, at all. You know, as a matter of fact, I used to go on hunting trips all the time, but I never really hunted. I would have my gun, and, you know, I got all these guns that I never even fired, and, you know, I'd go fishing instead, you know. Like one time we went bear hunting, and, well, we used to go on a regular basis, but, you know, I'd drop everybody off at their stands or whatever, and next thing I would do was fish. You know, I had the gun in the bottom of the boat, and I would fish. You know, that was my thing. You know, but anyway, what I was talking about with the eating of the venison. Now, I had tried it before, and I thought it was gamey. You know, I'm just not into like gamey food. You know, like I'm not the guy that's going to eat the turkey leg. You know, I'm not the guy that's going to grab, you know, the chicken leg. The only reason why I eat wings is because of the hot sauce when it comes to chicken. I'm just not into it, you know. Yeah, I tried buffalo and beefalo and all that stuff when that was hitting the markets, but I just wasn't into the gaminess, you know. Excuse me. And when I eat the venison from Randy and his wife Liz, it's just so different. And I asked him, I said, you know, what's up, man? What do you do that's different than what I'm used to? Because sometimes I've had venison where it was just like, gamey, and it had this, I don't know what it was on there, but it was, I had to like really force it down, take a couple of chews and then, whatever I'm drinking, chase it down. Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, no thanks, I'm full, But it isn't the case with when Randy St. Clair and his wife make it. It's delicious. And when I asked him, he said that it's really all in the preparation in terms of how you butcher it and how you cook it and everything else. He says a lot of mistakes that hunters make is that when they cook their venison, they don't butcher it right. They leave some of the fat, so to speak, which I guess he was describing. It's almost like a lard, almost, and it's got to come off. You got to cut it all off. He said that's the first thing you got to do. He says when you're butchering it, you got to make sure that all of that comes off. And then he said the second thing is that you have to really slice it thin. You have to slice the meat from the deer very, very thin. And he said that's the key. That it has to be thin and all of that happy stuff. But the other part of it is that you got to cook it not too much. And I see I got Mike back now. I'm just doing a dance. I'm just doing a dance.
Venison recipes?
Yeah, I'm giving some venison. All of a sudden, I got your. I'm looking right at your mug, man. You must have connected. That, huh? Yeah, you must have connected with the video. But
yep. Sorry
about that. But anyway, I was dancing a little bit and talking about venison and going through all of that stuff. So that was pretty cool. And I guess I won't talk to you about venison. Do you like venison, by the way?
I love venison. I'm fortunate that living down in Charlotte, a lot of the guys that I work with are avid hunters, and they get 6-10 deer a year, so they're always giving me venison.
Now, I mean, I was just talking about it, and like what I was saying, I don't know how much you caught, but Randy's secret, and I wasn't even eating like a really, the filet mignon of it or nothing. I was just eating just regular piece. They said the hindquarters or whatever, but he said that the trick is butchering it, that it has to be cut really, really thin, and that when you cook it, a lot of times people overcook it. It really just has to be seared on both sides, because if you butcher it right, there's no fat or nothing.
No, there's no fat on that animal, and he's right. I mean, it's all in preparation of the animal, from the butcher to the way you prepare it, and you shouldn't have what they call that game taste. It should taste like really, really good, steak, like cow, if it's prepared right. You had steak, you said?
No, it was venison, but it was cut in these little pieces. It was delicious, and it did not have any gamey taste, and. Right. At first I was like, oh man, but the only other time I liked it was from the St. Clairs. So hey, it's cooking venison with the St. Clair family. But we'll have Randy on soon. As soon as hunting season's over, I'll be able to get him. But speaking of baseball, let's talk a little about baseball. Really good thing happened for you and me recently, and that is the Yankees have been ousted from contention. There will not be the New York Yankees in a World Series. I'm ecstatic about it. I'm happy. It's kind of, I felt bad, Mike, because here's the thing, and I'd be lying if I said anything different. When I heard that Derek Jeter got hurt, my first thing is I don't want to see an injury to any player in any sport. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And Derek Jeter, we talked about it last time, Derek Jeter, as far as the Yankees are concerned, he's the class of that organization. I mean, if there's any Yankee I like, it's Derek Jeter. But with that said, God, I was happy that he was the one that injured himself and wasn't going to be able to play. And I think the team, I think he's their security blanket, and I think their performance since the injury is evident of that.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, even if Derek was healthy, what were they going to win? 1, maybe 2 games?
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
You don't know, but it was a whole team that wasn't hitting. He was probably the only one. I mean, Teixeira was batting around 280 next to Jeter, but everyone else under them was anemic. So even if he was in the lineup, I don't think it was going to help. Especially, we talked about this last time we were together. I mentioned the Detroit starting pitching. I said it's phenomenal. and it's playing really, really good baseball. And I said that the thing that what's going to keep the Tigers in the playoffs is if their starting pitching goes deep, because their bullpen has been atrocious, and that was evident in the game in the Bronx when they're leading 4-0 going into the ninth inning, and Valverde comes in and gives up two 2-run homers. And I'm watching that game, and I see Suzuki hits the first homer. It's 2 runs. It's 4-2. Then he walks Teixeira, and you know me, I'm a big Jimmy Leland fan. That I'm watching, and I'm like, you gotta take him out. You gotta take him out. And here comes Ibanez, and I'm shaking my head. I'm watching it. And my father and I are both Yankee haters, and my uncle's a Yankee fan. So it was 2-1. You just saw the writing on the wall. And that was it. And Ibanez ties it up. But thank goodness they, Detroit came back to win that game. But that's what's going to keep them going is their starting pitching.
It's funny going back to that famous day where you pretty much ruined the Mets season and all of that stuff. At that time, the Tigers weren't even in the middle of the pack, and there were experts saying that the question was asked to all the baseball experts, which team right now at the All-Star break is going to make a run and get into the playoffs that today, if the season ended, wasn't in contention. And several of them, and I think we talked about this last time, said the Detroit Tigers. And on paper they were strong, and I mean, it wasn't that I was shocked at hearing that, but they weren't in my mind, but apparently they were in yours, and they're looking real strong now. They're in full stride. They're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, I think so. No matter who they play, if it's St. Louis, which I think it should be, and it might be, it's going to be tough if that starting pitching stays consistent. Their pitchers were 27 innings, and their ERA was 0.67 against the Yankees. So that's tough to beat, and you know that good pitching always beats good hitting, which was definitely evident in that series. So yeah, they are going to be a tough out. And like I said, a couple weeks ago when we were together, I'm rooting for them because I'm a big Jim Leland fan, and I like to see him get one more before he retires from the game.
Yeah, well, I can't tell you how much I hope the Cardinals just lose the next 2 games. St. Louis lost yesterday, so San Francisco got it a little closer now that they go back to San Fran. They're down 3-2. The Cardinals are leading. And just what, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is, Mike, but I can't stand the St. Louis Cardinals. I cannot stand the St. Louis Cardinals. I have nothing against anyone on that team, but there's just something about, maybe it's just St. Louis, but I never thought I'd be rooting as much as I am for the Giants to get in there and play the Tigers.
See, now I'm just the opposite. I don't like the San Francisco Giants because I'm a Met fan, as you know, but I still kind of follow Los Angeles because my father was a Brooklyn Dodger fan, and that's his favorite team. He's followed them to Los Angeles, so he obviously can't stand the Giants. So I'm in the corner, But with St. Louis, I'm actually pulling for them for 2 reasons, and the reasons are Tony La Russa and Albert Pujols, because nobody thought this team was going to survive without those 2 main ingredients. And look where they are now. They're 1 win away from getting into the World Series. Matheny has done a great job, and they haven't missed Pujols at all. Everybody that's filled in, from Berkman to Craig at second base, at the first base has done an adequate job. So it's just nice to see. I just had to think about Pujols leaving the way he did. And this is a team where I personally think it should have been like Derek Jeter. You stay true to that team. You're an icon in that city, and for a little bit more money. And when if you have $100 million in the bank, do you really need $110 million? That's what it came down to. And he left them, so I'm happy. I'm rooting for St. Louis. I'm not a St. Louis fan, but if I had to pick between those teams, I'm going to pick St. Louis, man, and I want to see Detroit beat them in the World Series. Yeah,
well, I guess at this stage of the game, I'm going for Detroit, regardless of who wins in the NL. So we'll have to wait and see. That's coming up soon. As far as the New York baseball teams, the Yankees, thank God they're out of it. You know, a lot of talk's been going on about A-Rod, man, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. There's serious trade rumor that A-Rod's on the block, and they talked to Hank Steinbrenner recently. There was an article I caught, and he says, well, he's not going to be talking about it. He's important. He's not blaming it on him. Yes, he had a bad postseason, but so did all the other players. He said, you know, I'm not saying anything. However, we do need A-Rod to focus more on being a baseball player and not a celebrity, which to me is basically saying we're shopping this guy around. There's $114 million left with 5 years on this guy's contract. My question is this. What do you mean he's working on being a celebrity? When you sign for a $250 million contract, you're already a celebrity, man. I mean, I just don't think he's listen, nothing against A-Rod. I've never met him personally or anything like that. But he ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
No, when Hank Steinbrenner says, you know, he has to, you know, stop working about being a celebrity, what I think he's trying to say, you read in between the lines, he's got to stop trying to pick up chicks during a playoff game.
I know.
Which is, I mean, that's, you know, I have no respect for somebody like that. I mean, you see,
I would try it.
Jeter doing something like that.
I would try it.
Well,
I mean, come on.
Well, you and I, you know, if we were single, we take what we can get, you know. We're not, you know, we're not A-Rod.
Right.
A-Rod can just walk into any bar, any place, any time, and get whoever he wants. Just about celebrities, it doesn't matter. You're in a playoff game and you're not hitting. Your concentration should be on your team and getting to the next level and beating Detroit, not sending a ball boy into the stands with a baseball and, you know, get the number for me. He just manages to. It's either putting his foot in his mouth or doing the wrong thing, you know, and that's what I think Hank Steinbrenner is referring to when he says, you know, he has to concentrate more, you know, on his baseball, not his celebrity. He's you know, he's just. I think he's breaking down basically from all the performance enhancing drugs that he did, plus the age. He's 37 years old.
Right.
I mean, that's not over the hill. I mean, look at Jeter. Look what Jeter just did at 38 years old. But he's not Jeter.
Right. Well, that's the thing. You know, he's not performing in the postseason. The Yankees are all about the postseason. He never has been able to perform in the postseason. I see him getting traded. The question is who's going to afford him at 37 years old, 5 years, $114 million. I see the Yankees maybe picking up half that tab and just saying bye-bye to him. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't think there's anybody in the league that would take him if the Yankees only take half that contract. If you're going to take a chance and try to trade him, and if I'm another general manager, you're minimum, you're paying 75 cents on the dollar. I'll pay 25 cents. You know, I mean, it's evident, like I said, he's breaking down. What GM in their right mind is going to say, okay, I'll take half that contract? Because that's even overpaying for him. You know, there was a general manager recently asked if you take away the contract right now, and if A-Rod was a free agent at 37 years old, 38 years old, whatever he is, what would he be worth on the open market right now? And the general manager said 1 year, $5 million. Yeah,
that's a lot less than 5 years and $114 million. So I can't see, even if Daddy Steinbrenner was alive right now, I can't even see him, eating that much money. I personally think it's going to be really difficult for them to shop him and get him out of the system. I think they're pretty much joined at the hip until 2017. And keep in mind that the longer he stays with the Yankees, the more, the definite that he will be there until the end of that contract. If they can't get rid of him now, it's not going to happen after the end of next year.
No, I agree. I don't see him going anywhere, and I think it's ridiculous for the Yankees to pay 75% of his salary just to get him out of Dodge. I guess you could argue and still say, well, at least you're not paying 25%, but still, if the guy could hit a little better, I mean, his fielding hasn't been bad. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I just find it pretty funny, but hey, we'll have to wait and see. about that. And when you look at the other side of town, the Mets, well, they've been a disaster area ever since. The only thing that's coming out recently about the Mets is that we were informed that our ace pitcher was actually injured since April, is what he said, man. And he's getting some surgery. Of course, I'm talking about R.A. Dickey. He's getting some surgery. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Well, he's a gamer, that's for sure. And obviously he wasn't injured enough where he didn't want to compete or didn't want to say anything. I don't think it's going to really affect him that much next year because of the way he throws and what he throws. So I'm not overly concerned about it. And you know what? He's one little piece of a gigantic puzzle that's in disarray. So even if he's 110% next year, you know as well as I do, as every Met fan knows, his team is not going anywhere in 2013. That's the major problem. But listen, I like R.A. Dickey. Like I said, he's a gamer. I think a lot of other guys would have quit. But, he moved forward. He fought it. And he became a 20-game winner, and hopefully, he'll be rewarded with the Cy Young Award.
Why shouldn't he get the Cy Young Award? He led the NL in wins. He led them in complete games. He led them in shutouts. In ERA, right? Or he's up there in ERA.
He was like 1 point behind Kershaw in the ERA. The only reason I see him not winning, I think he will, but there could be some purists out there, and when I say purists, I mean the baseball writers who vote for these awards that say, you know what, he's a knuckleballer, it's a junk pitch. However, he throws it like no other knuckleballer has ever thrown it before. He's got velocity on his knuckleball, and he seems to have more control over it. Like if you look at him and you look at guys like Niekro, Niekro's ball will just float and come in at 63 miles an hour, where R.A. Dickey's ball comes in, 83 to 85 miles an hour. So there is a big difference, and that's the only reason, I could see that someone might not give him a first-place vote. But that being said, I don't think that's going to happen. He should, without a doubt, be the Cy Young Award winner. And keep in mind that anybody else that's in contention for the Cy Young Award winner was on a winning team. And the Mets finished well below 500, and he still managed to get 20 wins from a team that gave him no run support.
Yeah, they fell really off the map thanks to you. But anyway, the bottom line is, and I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. But when a typical knuckleball pitcher throws a pitch, and it flutters, and the catcher doesn't know where it's going, the pitcher doesn't know where it's going, nobody knows where it's going, I could agree that it's a junk pitch. But with Dickey, not only is it coming in 20 miles an hour faster or more, but the catcher's not having a problem. Very rarely do you see him lose control of a pitch and end up in the dirt, and he seems to know where it's going. So all of a sudden, that pitch isn't a junk pitch, in my opinion.
I agree 110%, but it's still technically called a knuckleball, and that's where some purists might say, you know what, it's still a junk pitch. But you're right. He is not only reinvented himself, but he's reinvented the pitch. And without a doubt, there are going to be copycatters out there trying to learn how to throw a knuckleball at that velocity because it's very effective.
I think
he does have control over it.
I think he's going to have a post-career career in being a pitching coach or at least an advisor or a one-on-one guy, because you're 100% right. People are going to be trying to tap into him and say, what the hell are you doing? I just wonder if he really knows what the hell he's doing, or if it's that freak, that whole issue with his arm not having a tendon that we're all supposed to have. Is that giving him the ability? Is this a once-in-a-lifetime result of a knuckleball pitcher? Is R.A. Dickey? I mean, do we need to give him that credit? Was he always... See, that's the other thing. In his career, and before the Mets, he really wasn't that dominating. I mean, yeah, he got a couple of chances and stuff, but he didn't perfect it the way he has it. So obviously he's doing something different, right?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I mean, but, perfection doesn't happen overnight. And it took him some time to actually to get to this level. And if you've noticed, each year he's been with the Mets, he's improved. So he's perfecting it even more and more. As long as he can keep that velocity, even if he comes down a few miles per hour to like 82 or 81, I still think it's going to be an effective knuckleball pitch because it's still not. Now, here's the other thing: will hitters get used to it? The more you see this pitch, the more you recognize. Obviously, it's not the traditional knuckleball. Will hitters finally catch on to him? Teams that see him 19 times a year. Will they finally catch on to that? And that's only that, time will tell. But, he's definitely a piece of the puzzle that has to stay with us. I don't think the injury is going to be a big thing. He'll be fine come spring training. I mean, if you're going to talk injuries and surgeries and then you got to talk Santana because, what is he going to be next year? And unfortunately, we have him and paying him at $25 million, and that's like a big albatross around our neck is that salary and Santana, not to mention Jason Bay, but we all know about that. But we'll see. Even both these pitchers healthy, this team, in my opinion, is still going to, finish right around where they finished this year. And 2014, according to Sandy Olson, is the year that you're going to see his team and you're going to see an improved team and a team that's going to contend. Well, I mean, I got to wait another year for that. So
you bet. He just better be hoping that we still see him with the team by then. Because you never know what's going to happen. And just one last thing about Dickey. I got to be honest. I didn't think he was going to have the year he had this year. At the end of last year, I did not think he was going to be better than he was last year, this year. And, he definitely proved me wrong. So maybe that catching up to him and learning how to hit that ball isn't as easy as it may seem.
That's true. I mean, like I said, he's improved every year that he's been there. And, it's just you ride it out. You see how long it's, he's going to last. I mean, he's up there, too. He's 37 years old. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see. But I'm looking forward to seeing the end result. And I agree with you when you see, he's going to have a great post-career, which I think he will. You know what? It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I mean, you want to see things like this in sports where, the nice guy, succeeds. And I think he'll do just fine. No,
I agree. Hey, there's not so often that we really get to tie boxing in with New York sports talk, but we get to today. And speaking of boxing and New York, it's not coming from any better place than where you would probably like to see it, and that's Brooklyn, New York. We got a big fight card going on in Brooklyn tonight, and it's being promoted by Golden Boy. It will be on Showtime. And I was amazed to see that statistics. The last time that there was a world title fight, now granted it had much more ramifications to being a world title fight in Brooklyn, was at Ebbets Field way back in the day, over 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And what's your thoughts on Golden Boy bringing boxing to Brooklyn? And not only are they bringing it to Brooklyn, he claims, I say he meaning Oscar De La Hoya, that they're going to be doing this on a monthly basis.
I think it's great, and if I was in New York at this time, I would definitely be there. I mean, have you seen the Barclays Center? Pictures of it, inside, outside? It is state of the art. It's gorgeous, and I think it's going to be great for boxing. It's nice to see boxing back in Brooklyn, and I'm excited about the card too. And Paulie Malignaggi's, this is his dream, is fighting in his hometown. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to watch tonight.
Yeah, well, we'll be able to watch, and I haven't been to the center. I've seen pictures of it. It is nice. It's no doubt about that. Let's talk a little about the card. The main event is Danny Garcia against Eric Morales. And listen, I want to start off by saying I can't stand the New York State Athletic Commission, all right? I can't stand them only because they're bullies and they're corrupt and everything else. It needs to be changed, all right? The group of people that are in there right now need to go, all of them, except even, ironically enough, the commissioner, Melvina Latham, is actually the most knowledgeable in the commission, but she's just like kind of a figurehead. She doesn't make any of the decisions. With that said, there's been some funky stuff going on around this card that irks me about the commission, because if it was you or I or any other promoter other than a big-time promoter like Golden Boy, they would have shut the card off. They would have definitely canceled a couple of fights, and I'll give you an example. First and foremost, Eric Morales is fighting Danny Garcia as the main event. Now, this is actually a rematch. This time it's for it's for 2 titles, because the last time Eric Morales had some kind of a belt that Danny Garcia won. And there's 2 belts on the line in the junior welterweight division. Eric Morales, that we both know he's been around forever. He came in on weight. He weighed 139.2 pounds. The weight limit was 140. Danny Garcia, the reigning champion, he came in slightly under 140 at 139.8. But here's the thing: Eric Morales tested positive on his drug test, and they usually have 2 samples, sample A, sample B. When a fighter tests positive, they have the choice: do you want us to open up sample B? And if sample B tests positive, then pretty much you're guilty, right? Well, both samples tested positive. Both of them tested positive. And then they were able to administer him a 3rd test that they claim came up positive. Now, New York State issued a statement that said there's still a possibility that we may cancel this card, but we won't know as of now. Now, this is yesterday at the weigh-in. As of now, the fight is on. Now, my question is this. Do you think if any other fighters came to the state of New York that weren't with Golden Boy, that wasn't on such a historical fight night like the opening of the Center for Boxing and it being on Showtime and all this stuff that New York thrives on, do you think they would let this fight happen?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But, because it is Golden Boy, because it is the initiation, the ceremonial opening.
Hey, Mikey, I don't mean to
the fight game.
Mike, I don't mean to interrupt you, but all of a sudden you're breaking up. Like I didn't even hear your comment on that. Let me just end hang up on you and get you right back. All right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we for some reason Mikey's just started coming in pretty poor, but I think he said that there's no way that they would have passed that. Are you back with us, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh yeah, much better, much better. All of a sudden, you started. I didn't even hear what you said. I'm going to ask the question again. Do you think that if it was anything other than such a high-profile fight for the state of New York, that they would let this happen?
And my answer was no, absolutely not. I think it's because it's in the Barclays Center. It's the initiation, the opening for the Barclays Center, and it is Golden Boy. And with those 2 things, this fight was going to go on no matter what.
Yeah, and that's what irks me about the state. I mean, if you're going to have strict, I don't have a problem with New York State Boxing Commission having strict rules. I have no problem with that. I support it. I want the fighters to be safe and the fans and everybody involved to be safe. But you can't pick and choose who you're going to be really hard ass to and who you're not. And it boils down to money, and that's not right.
No, it always boils down to money. You know that, and that's in life, not only in boxing, as we know. But my question about Morales, now, didn't he test negative the 3rd time they tested him?
Yeah, he tested negative. I might have said the word positive, but he tested negative, meaning that they'd say, "Oh yeah, see, the sample's good, he's clean." But the problem is that. And he claims that the food was tainted, that it was a result of tainted food, and that he would never do this. He's an honest guy, blah 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 blah. But the bottom line is, he tested positive. They don't want the fight to not go on, so they'll make a decision there. Concerning the fight, Eric Morales against Danny Garcia, who do you like in that?
I like Danny Garcia. I think just his youth is going to overcome Morales' experience, and I like him to win. As far as the other guys, the fight that intrigues me the most is Randall Bailey and Devin Alexander. I love Randall Bailey because he is like that home run hitter. He's got that one straight right hand that if he hits you with it, you're gone. That's evident in 37 knockouts in his 43 wins. I don't like Devin Alexander, and I'm actually rooting for Bailey. I want to see him land that home run shot.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about all the fights. The Danny Garcia-Eric Morales fight, the first fight, ended really close because Danny Garcia started standing right in front of Eric Morales, and Morales just doesn't have the legs anymore or hand speed. So I'm thinking Danny Garcia is going to outbox him. So I agree with you. Danny Garcia is going to win that one. We can let's jump to the Paulie Malignaggi fight, which is the co-main event. Here's another one that has to have an asterisk next to it. And check this out. Pablo Cesar Cano, who actually fought Eric Morales at 140 pounds, okay, and was beating the snot out of Eric Morales prior to the Danny Garcia fight until he ran out of gas and stood right in front of Eric Morales and got stopped. He went up in weight to fight at welterweight, which is the fight for Paulie Malignaggi's WBA title, and failed to make weight, Mikey. He weighed a pound and a half over. So therefore, they have determined that the WBA title cannot go to Pablo Cesar Cano even if he wins. And here's the best part. Now, I wonder if this is New York shenanigans, and you let me know. Even if Paulie Malignaggi loses, he keeps his belt. So this belt, even though it's being billed as a title, the only way that this title leaves Paulie Malignaggi is if someone steals it in the parking lot, because there's no way he can lose this title tonight. What's your thoughts?
That's ridiculous. Then how could they still say it's a title fight if there's no title on the line?
Exactly.
That makes no sense.
Exactly. I mean, if he loses, typically what they do, if a fighter loses, like let's say you come in, you and I are going to fight, you come in overweight, it's for a title, and you beat me, typically what happens is the title becomes vacant if it was my title going into it, right? The title becomes, and even if it was your title, you become stripped of it. And unless I win, it becomes vacant. So how does Paulie Malignaggi end up keeping this belt no matter what? And why we're talking about Paulie Malignaggi, I know he's from Brooklyn and everything else. I give him a lot of credit because he's got heart. The one thing I'll say about Paulie Malignaggi, he's got tons and tons of heart, but I can't stand the guy. I don't think he represents the Italians the right way, and I think he's more like a girly man.
See, now, let's go back a couple years, and I said the same thing about Paulie Malignaggi, and you actually defended him a couple years ago. And now I think we're seeing a different view about Paulie, where you can't stand the guy. I'm actually finding that I kind of like the guy. I mean, he's not my favorite fighter, don't get me wrong, but I respect him for the fact that you said he has heart. He fought his fight against Kotelnik. I mean, I didn't think he was going to win that fight. I thought he, coming up in weight, and for a guy who has no power at 140, now he's coming up to 147. He showed a lot. And he schooled Kotelnik. He schooled him. He opened up that eye. He blew it up. I'm actually having a little bit more respect for Paulie. Also, my buddy is a photographer for HBO, and he sees him all the time, and he swears on a stack of Bibles that he's a really, really nice guy. Also, what I like about him is, did you see him? He was an analyst or color commentator for a recent, I think it was a Showtime fight recently. I thought he did a great job. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't think he did that good of a job because he didn't sound. I just think that the guys that are doing that have to have some level of intelligence, or at least sound like they do. Like for an example, I can't stand BJ Flores as a fighter. I think he's a fraud. He's this and that, but he does a fantastic job as an analyst. When they brought Zab Judah in on ESPN to do an analyst position, he was awful. I couldn't even understand a word he was saying. I hope he can't even speak well. I don't understand what he did. Paulie, if he would have stopped acting like Paulie, I think you're right. He would have done okay, and I heard rumor that he wants to get into that. But you're right. I liked Paulie. I never liked him until he fought Cotto. When he fought Cotto and showed that heart, I started to like him. But I'm back at that point again. I think he's outlived and outgrown the funky hair and the color coordinated outfits. I mean, it's just over the top. And I know people say, "Oh, well, that's Paulie," but he doesn't back it up. And I think he's going to have some trouble against Cano. Cano is pretty fast and everything else, but I'm just wondering how good a shape he's in since he came in overweight, and this was moving up 7 pounds from his last fight.
Exactly. And that's why I think Paulie, there's one thing about Paulie, he trains hard, he does come in shape into the ring. And, you said Cano came in 1.5 pounds over. Well, that's evident that he wasn't taking training seriously. So I do favor Paulie in this. I think he's just going to outbox him. And as far as the antics and the color coordination, and I think he's actually simmered down. He's taken it down a notch ever since that fiasco where he was getting a haircut in the ring against Ricky Hatton when he had those dreadlocks. Now he's got a shaved head basically. Very, very short hair. I mean, I think that stuff is kind of like you kind of put that in the back burner a little bit. He's not as flamboyant. He's not talking as much now than he did when he was coming up in the ranks. But as far as the color coordination and the tassels, listen, we've seen that from Camacho to Paez to everybody. I mean, I don't fault the guy for that, and I think he does back it up. I think that he besides the heart, he still has boxing ability. I mean, his legs aren't the same, but he still has his skills. The speed is still there, and I think he's going to take it to Cano tonight. I think because of the fact that Cano came in overweight, it shows something, and I think Paulie should take it tonight.
Well, we know one thing. Bet the fact that Paulie's going to leave the arena tonight in Brooklyn, the WBA champion. That we know. We know. No matter what, he's going to have the belt. The other fight on there is actually from a kid that is from New York as well. He lives in California right now. But Peter Kid Chocolate Quinlan is really fighting the toughest opponent of his career, and that's Hassan Nadam Najikam. I can never pronounce the third name of his name, who has been upgraded to the WBO middleweight champion. He was, for the longest time, considered the interim champion. How do you think Kid Chocolate's going to do in this one? It's
going to be a tough fight for him. Like you said, Hassan is going to be a really tough opponent. I think it's going to come down to like the final round. It's going to be that close. I'm going to favor Hassan in this one. I'm going to take him, and I think he's just going to squeak out a split decision against Kid Chocolate. That's how I feel about that one.
Now the fight that you mentioned, and then we'll pass this on. Devon Alexander is taking on Randall Bailey, who happens to be the champion. He's the IBF welterweight champion. I mean, we got two welterweight champions on the same card in different sanctioning bodies, which is sickening. But Randall Bailey, 147-pounders against Devon Alexander. You mentioned earlier that you love Randall Bailey. Definitely, all he does is headhunts for that one punch. It's never over till the final bell with him. He's no spring chicken at 37 years old. Devon Alexander, whether you like him or not, he possesses a lot of skill. He is from St. Louis. I watched him ringside several times. I think this is going to be an easy fight for Devon Alexander, Mikey, because Randall Bailey is so one-dimensional. Devon knows it. You know it. I know it. Everybody in the arena is going to know it. And Devon Alexander is most likely going to be boxing and moving, and Randall Bailey is going to be doing nothing but headhunting for 12 rounds.
Yeah, but everybody that goes into a ring with Randall Bailey knows this is what he's going to do, and everybody's going to try to outbox him. But he does catch people. That's the thing. And I think if he does catch Devon Alexander, then that's going to be the end of it.
No doubt.
You don't think so?
No, I said no doubt. No doubt.
Oh, yeah. And I think, listen, in 12 rounds, I think he will tag him. Even the worst of fighters, or the best defensive fighters, get hit now and then, and he's not exactly Pernell Whitaker in there. When I'm talking about Alexander, I think he's going to get hit. I think it's going to affect him. I don't think he has the power to keep Randall Bailey off him. So it's just going to be him coming at him straightforward. Much like we spoke about it in the Martinez and Chavez fight. You knew what was going to happen there, and the question was, is Martinez going to run out of gas and get tagged? And if that fight was a 15-round fight, yeah, that would have happened, but it wasn't. So I don't see Devin Alexander as Martinez is a physical specimen. He's amazing at his age, and I don't see Devin Alexander being able to run away or dance and move to keep away from Bailey for all 12 rounds. So I do think he's going to catch him late, and if he does, he's going to put him on the seat of his pants.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, because the winner of that may face Paulie Malignaggi next time. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little about just some college stuff real quick. Did you catch the story about Bob Knight selling all of his memorabilia, his championship rings, and his Olympic gold medal, and even his jumpsuit that he got for coaching the Olympic team? Did you catch that story?
Just a little bit of it. Is he financial hardship?
This was what I wanted to ask you. He says he's selling it for a good reason, and that's to put his grandkids through college. And first of all, I find that hard to believe that he needs to sell his memorabilia to do that. Bob Knight is a very successful coach, money-wise, and of course wins losses-wise. But and with all these college deals that he had, his son was a college coach, which I'm assuming we're talking about his kids. A lot of these colleges, part of the deal when you become a coach is that your family gets to go to the school, man. I mean, it's part of the tuition is part of it. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm buying it. Maybe he is having some financial difficulty. How could Bob Knight, a guy that's so intelligent, at least we all think he is, how could this guy be in financial trouble?
You don't know. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. I mean, not only was he a successful coach, but he became an analyst, right, on ESPN.
Yeah. Plus, he's got a couple of books out. I mean, this is a guy that's got to be worth some bucks, man. He's got to be a multimillionaire. He's got to be. I know he made good money, as a college coach, and you're right. He did some analyst work, and I just find it strange that he's selling the stuff. I find it mind-boggling, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weak excuse. I'm selling memorabilia to put my grandkids through school. Which and you say that he's from Indiana. I mean, they can go there for free,
exactly,
or for very little. So it doesn't make any sense. I mean, how many times do you hear players, athletes, but you don't really hear coaches that are financially strapped, especially somebody who's, like you said, he's an older man, he's intelligent. Well, we like to think so. But, it could have been bad business deals. It could have been loaning out money to his family. You don't know, but I definitely don't buy the excuse that he needs money to put his kids through college, his grandkids through college.
Well, it even gets better. He's got his buddy, a lifelong friend. They went to school together and pretty successful himself in the sport of boxing, John Havlicek. And they are combining their memorabilia collection, which one of them has the actual jersey that Yankees pitcher Don Larson pitched while he pitched the only perfect game in World Series history. And, that's part of it. So now it becomes a big dollar thing that they're auctioning off their stuff. And I'm saying to myself now, well, Jesus, what the hell kind of college does these grandkids want to go to? I mean, we're talking from some of the memorabilia that it sounds like they're selling. We're talking millions of dollars here.
Yeah, and that could put 2 or 3 kids through the highest college in the world. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. I definitely think he's gotten himself into some financial trouble, and as well as I do that if that is true, that'll eventually come out. There's no doubt about it, because you and I are not the only ones, and there are going to be people fishing to find out what the truth is, because that to me or to you or anybody else, that's definitely not the truth.
No, and we will hear about it. But anyway, another college thing I wanted to talk about real quick was the BCS. BCS standings came out, the first one last weekend, and my boys are ranked number 1, Alabama, so attaboy for them. They were also ranked number one in both the other polls, the AP Top 25 and the USA Top 25. But that's about the only spot that's the same, because things are different from that point on. What's going on with the BCS? I mean, everybody thinks that it's going to be okay when the playoff system comes into place. It is a computerized system where they rank the teams according to, their wins and losses, of course, but the opponent's wins and losses. When you take the human element out of certain things, I'm actually supportive. Human element, it becomes subjective and opinionated and possibly corrupt. What's your thoughts with BCS when it comes to these polls?
Well, I mean, how else are you supposed to rank somebody without, like you said, the human element? I mean, that's the way it's been in college for years. No?
Yeah, it has. The top 25, the coaches poll, the AP put out their top 25, USA Today put out their top 25, and then they used to have a coaches poll where the coaches would put out, and then the BCS puts it out. Like to give you an example, the BCS standings top 5: Alabama, Florida, Oregon, Kansas State, Notre Dame at number 5. That's the BCS. The AP poll, you have Alabama, Oregon, Florida, Kansas State, and Notre Dame. So it's almost similar, the flip-flop one. And then the USA has it, really different, considering a couple of spots. They have Alabama, they have Oregon, Kansas State, Florida, and then Notre Dame. So it's close, but no cigar. One team I noticed that was higher in the BCS was Boise State, who's ranked at number 22. It's a team I like. And the USA Today poll has them at 22, but the AP poll has them down at 24.
Now, did you say Florida and the U.S. was ranked above Notre Dame or below?
Florida was ranked above Notre Dame in all three polls. But in the AP poll, they're ranked at number 3. Notre Dame is number 5. In the USA Today poll, Florida is ranked number 4 and Notre Dame number 5. And in the BCS, they're ranked number 2, and Notre Dame is ranked at number 5. One thing we know, Notre Dame is the 5th-ranked team in the country because everybody says it.
Right. Right.
So.
And as far as Alabama, I mean, is there another team that should be ranked 1 or no?
Absolutely
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. I mean, Alabama right now, I think if you put them in the NFL right now, the team that they have, which incidentally isn't even as good as their team last year, who won it all, I think they beat. I bet you they beat 50% of the NFL teams out there right now.
50%? Come on, really?
I'm telling you, they're that good. They're that good. So I don't know. Maybe not 50%. I don't know. I know they beat our boys.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people could beat our boys. Maybe 1 or 2 teams, but not 50% of the NFL, I don't think.
I don't know. I look at a little bit. I look at the NFL right now. I think they could beat St. Louis. I think they could probably get away with a win over maybe Detroit or even Minnesota. I think they could beat New Orleans this year. I think they could beat Carolina, Tampa Bay. I think they beat that whole division except for Atlanta. As far as the Giants division, maybe they'd beat anybody in that division. In the West, the AFC West, Kansas City and maybe Oakland. Maybe San Diego on a good day. Remember, they have a really good pass rush. Over in the AFC Central, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati could all be beaten. Maybe now Baltimore too. Who knows? But anyway, that's another story. We'll have to wait and see. I happen to like Alabama, but hey, before we take a quick break here, one last thing. I know you're at the edge of your seat on this whole NHL issue, and now it was announced yesterday that the games have been canceled through November 1st. Are we going to have a season? I know you've been saying no. Do you think we are now?
I still don't think so. And the last I heard is that the owners offered a 50-50 revenue split with the players, and that was turned down. Now it's like, in my opinion, now it's definitely in the hands of the players. It's if they can't take a 50-50 split, and then what more can you give them?
You can't give them any more.
Exactly.
What are they looking for? There must be something else, right?
It's got to be. Well, I think they were getting 57% last time, and the owners wanted to go below 50%.
I guess we just lost. Mike, but we are going to take a short break anyway. So we will get all of that back right here. And let me make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
Beat Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought. Huh?
What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the ideal computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the #15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the #15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at iboboxing.com.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on talkinboxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TALKINBOXING.com and place your order today.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Rosselli Enterprises. Rosselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flowboys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Rosselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RosselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you.
Down across the alleyway, up on the boulevard like a zip gun on parade. Lights on the silhouette, he's in some net, coming at you on the count of one.
And we're back. You're listening to Talkin' New York Sports with Billy C and Brooklyn Mike. And on the line, I think he is, I swear he is Brooklyn Mike. And we just, I know Brooklyn Mike had to leave to wipe the tears from his eyes about the NHL and them not getting their act together. And I know you're really depressed about that. But it's time to talk a little football. What do you think? Did I lose you again, damn it? Ah, man. I'm starting to get a little aggravated with this system here. Which seems to be doing the same thing it likes to do to me every other day with the damn boxing show. Are you back now?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
but,
good.
Let's talk a little football. Go
Sounds
ahead.
Good.
What were you going to say?
No, I was quickly. I mean, I don't know if you heard the comment about the NHL lockout. I think the problem is with the 50-50 revenue split. The players are still losing 12% in salary, and that's the big issue right now.
Oh, well, I guess I can't argue with them there. A couple of things I wanted to talk about before we get into Jets and Giants. Number one, did you hear about O.J. Simpson and that a judge is wants to reopen the that armed robbery and kidnapping case that he's doing 33 years for? Why
would anybody want to open that up now?
Well,
what's the reasoning behind that? I didn't see that.
The reasoning behind it. And I gotta go on record as saying this. Forget the first case with OJ with the murdering of his wife and everything. I mean, that is a whole nother ballgame. But this particular case, I can't see how he got thrown into jail other than they were trying to make good for the mistake they made on the first one. But here's a case where he's claiming that his own lawyer basically did not advise him in the correct way, and that he had a financial gain in this thing because he was the one advising OJ to go to this hotel and do all of this stuff because he, according to these reports, has made over, $400,000 versus the $5,000 that O.J. Simpson apparently paid for his trial. That's what he's claiming, that he made $400,000 in other revenues.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. You said that his lawyer advised him to go to the hotel?
They're saying that one of the lawyers, there were several lawyers on the case, that one of the lawyers told him that it was within their legal rights and that he was able to do this and all of this thing before. And he was saying, his name is Galantier. He says, I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't there. But they said that the specifically that what they're saying is this. The judge says it is saying that the allegations are ineffective counsel. The document that's been presented has been put up. It was not made. That's claiming that O.J. was not made aware of pre-incident advice, was not privy to private strategy and discussions between the lawyers and O.J. Simpson, and was actually advised not to take the stand in his own defense. And all these things O.J. feels, and apparently the Clark County District Judge Jackie Glass is agreeing with him for. So that case may be reopened. And if it does, and by the way, it also allegates that he was offered a deal, a plea bargain that would have put him in jail 5 to 7 years, and that he's claiming now he would have taken that deal, and he said was never presented to him by his lawyer.
Well, I mean, if he had things that should have been presented to him that weren't, yeah, obviously then he has a case. But my question is, even if that's all true, who told him to go to the hotel armed?
He wasn't
to
armed.
Get his memorabilia back.
Two of the guys were armed. He claims that he wasn't armed. 2 guys were armed.
Okay, but he knew the guys were armed. No, I mean that doesn't make sense. So that's his decision. That was his. Even if the lawyer says, "All right, you should go get your memorabilia," that's one thing. But I don't think the lawyer said, "Make sure you bring 2 guys that are armed." That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that happened.
I don't know, man, but my thing is this, if it was his memorabilia, see, that's been my whole argument. If it's his memorabilia, he's trying to get it back, where did it get crossed the line? The threatening, the gun, he was an accessory, whatever the case is, does it still justify 30 years?
No, it doesn't justify 30 years, and that's punishment for Nicole Brown.
I know
that is, which is ridiculous. You can't do that.
You can't do that,
doing it.
Right? You can't do that, and I'm not saying that that's not what's being done. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it, but you can't do that, man. I mean, the blunder was made the first time around. He wouldn't have had this if it was done right the first time. He wouldn't have even had this opportunity to get his memorabilia, So I think it's crazy, and. It's a shame because he was such an idol to people my age and stuff. I loved O.J. Simpson, and it's a shame the whole thing has happened with such a football star, such a great football player. We've talked about football players specifically in the NFL getting busted for stupid stuff. How about in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers seem to be falling apart? The rookie defensive lineman that got arrested, 22 years old, who was arrested for drunken driving. He wouldn't pull over. He was trying to, 2:30 in the morning. He led the police on a wild goose chase. His name I can't pronounce, but it's Alameda Tamahu.
Tamahu. Yeah, that's what I would say it.
Yeah, Tamahu or whatever. What's your thoughts, man? Why can't these guys in the NFL go out and party and call the NFL cab service that's available to them?
You and I, we have spoken about this, off the air and on the air. It just makes no sense. And I joked about it. I says, if I had the same privilege to drink and drink to where I couldn't drive, and all I had to do was make a phone call, and I get driven anywhere I want for free, I would take advantage of that all the time. I would call up just to say, hey, I just had 5 glasses of wine. Take me to get some milk and bread.
Take me to the convenience store to get some chips, man. I'm hungry.
Yeah,
and nothing for nothing, Mikey. But a guy is out at a party or whatever. He has one drink. He should take advantage of this. Not I drank too much, because the first thing you think when you're drunk is you're okay to drive. The rule should be, if you have an alcoholic drink, call the service. I mean, what is, are you going to feel that you're not macho, that you can't drive yourself or whatever, or would you rather read about it in the paper now and be subject to some type of reprimanding from the NFL and the Steelers?
It's mind-boggling, and the fact that he led them on a chase. I mean, once you see the lights, what do? You pull over. I mean, unless you're a hardened criminal and you just robbed the bank, you're going to take a shot. I'm going to get in my car. I'm not stopping. I'm going to try and escape. Okay, but this guy is a National Football League player who plays on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he leads the police on a chase. He doesn't even pull. Flashing lights? Nah, I'm going to keep driving. Are you kidding me? He should be banned for at least a year, because that's how stupid he was.
You know what it is? It's either that or he's really, really drunk. I didn't see no damn lights, but anyway. Hey, speaking of craziness, and this is good because the New York Giants, who are quietly looking like they're going to be a real tough out in the NFL, which is totally sickening to me. Did you catch the Adderall loophole that the Giants seem to be leading the pack in the NFL of how to get away with taking Adderall, which is actually a banned substance in the NFL, and not be reprimanded for it? Did you catch any of that?
No, they've come up with a way to take Adderall without it being detected.
No. It's detected, but they get the okay. They get the medical release from taking it. Here's the thing, Adderall is which is the same thing as Ritalin, is basically given to ADD patients. Mm-hmm. And what's happening is a lot of these football players, and 3 New York Giant players have all tested positive of this, claim that they're taking it for attention deficit disorder, and that they need it to stay focused. Like example, Tyler Sash, who's a safety for the Giants, he says, no, I don't have ADD, but because of off-season public appearances before large crowds, it caused me to for my head to start spinning. So I took the drug to help me stay focused during my talks.
So how do you get around that? I mean, if he has a quote-unquote doctor's note, then how do you get around that?
Here's I got an answer for you, because it's all BS. Did you know? Dun-dun-dun, like the guy. Did you know? Picozzi, right? Did you know that there was a study performed, and according to a study that was taking place in 2006, adult cases, anyone over 18 of attention deficit disorder, 4.4% of U.S. adults had symptoms, not even determined if they had attention deficit disorder. They just showed symptoms, 4.4%. Come on, man. How come all of those 4.4% of the people are finding themselves in the NFL? This is just a way to beat the system and to take an enhancing drug. Because, oh, by the way, it helps you be more aggressive. It helps you run faster, because it gets your heart going and all that stuff. I think it's all BS, man. Maybe they should just let these athletes take whatever the hell they want, even the playing field, and let them kill themselves. What do you think?
Well, you know what? To be honest, I don't. When it comes to football players and performance-enhancing drugs, Adderall, Diana Ball, whatever you want to call them, all these steroids, it doesn't bother me as much, because this sport is about being physical. It's about hard hitting. It's about putting a hurt on your opponent. It doesn't bother me as much. Why it bothers me in baseball is because if I say to you the number, 715, you know what that is, but if I say, so and so had so many sacks, who cares? You want to see more tackles. You want to see more sacks. You want to see more hard hitting. Baseball records are sacred, as opposed to football records that I couldn't tell you 10 off the top of my head. And I don't think steroids affects, if Dan Marino passes for 80,000 yards or not. So to me, it's a non-issue to me, to be honest with you. I mean, is it illegal if they do this? Yeah, of course it is, and they should be suspended and whatever. But it doesn't bother me as much as it does for a game like baseball. It really irks me when a player like Melky Cabrera, being found guilty of performance, and then to try to make up a phony website to try to get out of it. That pissed me off even more. But it is what it is. It's football, and I think if you ask most football fans and baseball fans, where does it lie? Where does it bother you the most? They're going to say baseball.
Well, the thing is that when they say something's illegal and then you find a way to do it, whether you're getting away with it or whether you're hiding it or whatever, it becomes cheating. And
yes.
and my point is that, especially with steroids and performance-enhancing drugs, the nature of the industry and how these drugs are made and all this stuff, it's going to be very hard to police forever. It always is, because somebody's going to be able to mix up a concoction that's going to, not be on the banned list. It's not going to come up in the test. And now you still have a certain percentage of those players that are cheating. My point is that, hey, lift the ban. Go ahead. You want to kill each other. You want to pull it. You want to become Bill Romanowski. Remember him? Remember how what a nutcase he was? I mean, players were scared this guy was just foaming at the mouth. He wanted to kill you so bad, but when the ball was snapped, I mean, could you imagine, just everybody in the NFL or in baseball or in any sport, just at their peak? I mean, it'll even the playing field because it'll be the same. You know what? If you're not going to have it, then we got to figure out a way to police it. But speaking of policing, one last thing before I wanted to get into specific Jet and Giant talk. Did this whole bounty thing is really blowing up in Goodell's face. Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. You even said that you thought that he jumped the gun a little bit with the bounty thing, and it came down real hard on the Saints, of course, and Jonathan Vilma became the poster child, and now they're realizing that maybe they jumped the gun a little too soon, and there's another hearing, and there's appeals and everything else. Well, here's the general consensus, is that Roger Goodell, he's the guy that's at fault. And did you hear that they're bringing back Paul Tagliabue to become the judge, so to speak? He's going to be hearing the appeals on this. What's your thoughts?
I think that's great, because I think Roger Goodell, and I've said it before, he took advantage of his power. He went overboard. And Tagliabue, I thought, was a very, very good commissioner. So I think it's a good idea. I think it'll, for lack of a better phrase, straighten Roger out a little bit. Just put him in his place. Say, listen, you're the commissioner, and you have a lot of power, but don't abuse it.
Right.
Police it. I believe in reprimand. You do something wrong, you should be reprimanded.
Yep.
But you can't just assume things because you hear things and then go overboard. I mean, did Vilma deserve a full season ban? No. Did the coach? No, of course not. He ruined the whole team. And we said this before the start of the season. I said this team is not going to be the same thing without Peyton as the head coach. It's just not, because Breeze cannot carry this team without that leadership, and it's shown.
No, you can't. You can't do it from hearsay, and unless they have footage and video clip, and just because one guy, Shockey, started it all, a little snitch. One thing you can't go by that. It's hearsay. In a regular court of law, it would have been laughed out. Of court. So it's ridiculous stuff. Now let's talk about a real serious injury. Ray Lewis, is a guy that has been basically the hub of the Baltimore Ravens, and he's out now for the season, it looks like. What's your thoughts? Is his career over? There was some comments that I had read last week from people that were in the clubhouse, were in the locker room when at the end of the game when he was, given saying some words about the injury. They hadn't known the extent of the injury until the following day when they did the MRI. And some unnamed sources were saying that the tone of Ray Lewis's speech to his team was not only choking the guys up, but there was a sense of finality with it, that he was ready to accept that his career is over. What's your thoughts?
Well, look, I mean, he's 38 years old. I mean, the end was going to come sooner than later. But the fact that he was playing on such a high level.
Exactly. I was just going to say, man, I mean, we could say what we want about the age, but there are certain cases where guys defy it. And if Ray Lewis was a shell of himself, I mean, I remember when even Deion Sanders was still playing beyond when he should. He just was getting beat, and it wasn't the same Deion, but you can't say that about Ray,
No, you can't. And, could this be the end of his career? Yeah, quite possibly, because it's serious, and you don't heal as quickly as you do when you're 25, let alone 38 years old. But listen, if anybody can well up teammates with a speech, it's Ray Lewis. That's without a doubt. You hate to see it. You hate to see it because he's the heart and soul of that team. They don't have Suggs on the team because he's probably going to be coming back soon from his injury, his Achilles injury from last year. But they lost their best cornerback in Ladarius Webb. So this team is hurting. This team I thought was going to win their division, and this is going to hurt them deeply. They're already ranked 26 when it comes to run defense, and how do you think they're going to fare without Ray Lewis in the middle? Not too good. So, you know what? I hope it's not the end, but even if it is the end of his career, who's had a better career at inside linebacker than Ray Lewis? No, I can't think of anybody. Could he be one of the best of all time? Absolutely.
Definitely. And I think that the injury to Ray Lewis could actually be a rallying cry for the defense of the Ravens, who actually many experts are saying is the weakest Ravens defense in the history of the team this year. So with the loss of Lewis, if they can rally behind something, they still have the luxury as of today being in first place of the division, only being beaten one time. So we'll have to wait and see. But here's a good segue. The Ravens, they designated him for the possibility to return, but they did put him on injured reserve. Now, let's take a look at our boys, the Jets, who constantly just have my head shaking and shaking and shaking. This week, they announced that they did a settlement and released John Connor, who was their fullback, because they needed to make room on the roster, Mike. And this was a guy that was suffering from a hamstring injury and some injuries like that are just, not healing quick enough. And they basically cut him to make room on the roster so they could bring someone else. And I say to myself, and they said, oh, don't worry, we might sign him again. And I said to myself, no, you're not. Because somebody in the NFL is going to pick up John Connor because, this was a guy that just has everyone that's ever seen him block just say, oh, my God, this guy just ran over that other player. And the Jets, because they were so stupid in making the decision of keeping Revis on the active roster to get rid of a guy like John Connor. If Revis was able to play, if the Jets made it to the playoffs, that's a big if. I mean, you could have finagled and moved the roster around to get him active, but to risk losing a guy like Connor at this point, I think just shows us more how stupid the Jets' business decisions are.
The Jets' business decisions have been ridiculous the past couple of years, and
forever.
I'm like you. Well, really bad the past couple of years, but I mean, yeah, on a whole, yeah, it's never been that good, but it just makes no sense. I mean, in hopes that Revis comes back for the Super Bowl, the playoffs, or whatever, and then now you lost two other backs in McKnight and Bialy Powell, They're not playing this week, so now you're short in the backfield. If Green goes down, then what? Then it's Tebow back there. I mean, it's just
they said
you
Tebow,
shake your head.
They said Tebow's going to play
be
more.
Back there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's the smartest move they could make. You and I have been saying this since the day one. And you know what? Listen, let's take a look at the Jets. The week that last week, Sean Green had a fantastic game. There's no question about it. And I'm sure the Jets are going to want to pick up where they left off there. And another thing also proved a point that I've been making all year long about Mark Sanchez. Is Mark Sanchez a superstar quarterback? Is he a Manning? Either one? Is he a guy that is just a superstar quarterback? Absolutely not. However, he's a damn good quarterback if you give him a running game, which means not only does the running backs have to hold on to the football and gain 4 yards a carry, but the line has to block for him and give him a little time when he does have to pass and catch the friggin' ball. Well, all of those things happened on Sunday, and the Jets looked good. He looked good. Anybody, and then you could also make the argument that anyone could look good if you give a quarterback those tangibles, and I think that's critical for Mark Sanchez, and I think that they need to keep that going, whatever they got to do. The question is, are they going to keep it going against New England this weekend?
No, they're not. I think New England with that high-powered, no-huddle offense is just going to wear out that Jet defense. And I think they're going to cover that spread, whatever it is now, 9, 10, 11 points. I think they're going to get destroyed in New England. That's just my gut feeling. And, you mentioned Sanchez, and, did you play he played okay, but, I mean, he had 82 yards passing.
Yeah, but who cares? Who cares? I don't care about the stats. As long as he's not turning the ball over, as long as he's not getting the balls batted down, and as long as they win the game. I mean, listen, the defense played well. And you know what bothers me, Mike? The defense played well with the guys that they drafted to do well. And if it wasn't for injury to some of the other players that they have, Wilkerson wouldn't have been starting, Copels wouldn't have been starting, and finally, because out of necessity, they start, and they finally get clicking. What's up with Rex? I think I'm starting to believe, and I hate to say it because I don't want to blame him, because there's a lot of fault on the Jets organization from top to bottom, but I'm thinking that he's lost the ability to coach. I mean, he's not calling great defenses. He has no clue on the offense, and he's got a guy making calling the shots on the offense that I think is the worst offensive guy in the NFL. And all of a sudden, out of necessity, they put these young number one draft picks in there, and they have a decent game last week.
Yeah, they had a decent game against a banged up Indianapolis Colts line.
True.
That's the thing. Now let's see how they play against New England. Do I think he's lost the ability to coach? No, I just think the talent hasn't been there, and they haven't performed up to their expectations. As far as the offense, yeah, he's never had a clue. He's not an offensive coach. He doesn't care about that, which is ridiculous.
But he's got to have a clue.
You're a head coach. You should have both offense and defense, equally in your mind at all times.
Yes, and he's got to have a clue. He's got to go to offensive training 101. He has to. He can't put our offensive team, he can't put the offensive squad in the hands of Tony Sprono all year long. Tony Sprono sucks. He doesn't know how to call a game. He doesn't know how to manage a game. And when you're moving the ball, when you're moving that ball on anybody, I don't care if it's against the Indianapolis Colts or if it's against the New York Giants, if you're moving that ball, you should not make any changes a la now it's time to bring in it's third and 5, let's bring in Tebow, or 2nd and 5, let's bring in Tebow for a play. He loses 2 or 3 yards. Now bring Sanchez back for a 3rd and long when that's the last thing you want to put. You don't want to put Sanchez in 3rd and long. If you can keep Sanchez in a position where it's 3rd and less than 3, Sanchez is going to win for you. But 3rd and long, it's too predictable. The Jets' offensive line sucks. Their backfield blocking sucks. Their receivers drop too many balls. it's too much pressure on Sanchez and the rest of the offense that's underachievers.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But let me ask you this. I agree with you about, he can't disrupt the rhythm. If Sanchez is moving the chains, why are you going to stop just to bring in Tebow for your stupid wildcat trick plays? There is no good time during a course of a game to disrupt a starting quarterback's rhythm. There is no good time. If he's in the third quarter and he's just not doing anything by the third quarter, then maybe you want to bring in Tebow. But if he completes 2-3 passes in a row, why would you actually pull him out? It makes no sense. And the fact that they're thinking about putting Tebow in the backfield, that's the smartest thing they could do with this guy. And like I said, you've been a big advocate about don't call him a backup quarterback, call him something else, call him a fullback, call him a tight end, call him something, but don't call him the backup quarterback and use him as that. Well, you're going to see him in the backfield this weekend against New England for sure.
Well, he's bigger than most tight ends in the league. I don't know if he can catch a ball or not. I know he can run. And you know what? Here's the thing. To comment on your point that you just made, breaking up a quarterback's rhythm and stuff, I agree with you 100%. But if you're going to institute the wildcat, if you're going to use the wildcat, all right, and if that's your big trick offense, and obviously Tony Sparano's dream is to have the wildcat work in the NFL. If you're going to use it, there is a time to use it. And they even do it wrong. When you use it, when Sanchez marches the ball or you complete that long pass or whatever, and I agree with you, I wouldn't take Sanchez out. But if you're going to take him out, when you're at the 15-yard line or less, maybe the 10-yard line, and you bring the wildcat in, guess what? You keep Tebow in there for 4 plays. You don't let him run that one option play and then put him back on it, because that just pisses away a down. I mean, listen, I'm not getting paid big money to figure it out. And the bottom line is that Tony Sparano is a moron. He's a total moron. When they had a situation twice in the game last week where they were inside their opponent's territory, and they bring Tebow in a wildcat for 1 play. And now you're back with putting the ball in Sanchez's hands when he's behind the 8 ball again. Leave Tebow in there. Tebow's not effective when you only run him for 1 play. And if I'm the defensive coordinator and I'm thinking that Tebow's going to come in for a play, let me rephrase it. If you're the defensive coordinator and Tim Tebow all of a sudden is coming in for 1 play and you had to make a decision on what kind of play that is, what play would you send your defense, your defensive captain in? What would you be defending against for 1 play against Tebow?
I'm defending against Tebow running the ball.
Exactly, and that's what they do. And then when they bottle him up for 2 yards, or even worse, a loss, the guy's lost more yards than he's gained. Well, that's not true, but it seems it sometimes. And then they run him off the field. I love the fake kick in the pass. That was beautiful. I love that. That is what you want out of that guy. That is when when you have your teams thinking. But make it like that. Don't be so predictable. And I think they've taken Tim Tebow, who was supposed to be the, unpredictable tangible of the New York Jets, and they've made him predictable.
Right, because anytime you see Tebow, under center, he's not going to throw the ball. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you're going to put Tim Tebow in, you actually have to make him throw the ball more to throw the team off.
Right.
Because, you're like I said, you're going to defend against him running or running the option where he's going to, throw it and pitch it to the backfield to the running back. They're not letting him pass. I mean, listen, Sanchez is the only quarterback in the NFL who's below 50%. In completions. When I say only, I mean starting quarterbacks. Well, he's like 2-3% better than Tim Tebow is. So take a risk. Don't be so predictable, like you said. Let him throw the ball more. And you're absolutely right. You put him in for the 1 play. You know what he's going to do. Keep him in for a series. see how effective he moves the ball. Because if you're going to disrupt Sanchez's rhythm, at least keep Tebow in for more than one play and see what he can do.
I agree. And get the defense on their heels. Make them start thinking. Have Sanchez. I've said this all along. They need to be on the field both at the same time. Because when a defensive coordinator sees both of them, he's got to prepare for multiple things. When you run Sanchez off the field and bring Tim Tebow on, now you know that whatever you prepared for the Wildcat is all you need to focus on because the Wildcat's in there. But when Sanchez is in there and Tim Tebow and the huddle is still in the huddle and they haven't broken yet, that mystery of is Sanchez going to line up as a quarterback? Is he going to go wide? Is he going to line up as a receiver? Is Tebow going to be a running back? All of those questions are in the defensive coordinator's head, and he's got to be prepared for it. And this all has to be done within a few seconds. So, by them running them in and out is ridiculous. And, oh, by the way, their changes, their personnel changes, it's like a Chinese fire drill. I mean, these guys are running out of time. Sanchez is down to the last 3 seconds every time he's snapping the football. They still got guys running in motion when it's down to 3, 2, 1. I mean, how many delay of games did they have this year so far? How many times did they have to burn timeouts when you really didn't need to? And it's all because of personnel changes.
Yeah, and that's Tony. That's all on Tony Soprano.
I know, and it's
Soprano.
It's so
Soprano. I did a Billy C moment there.
It's okay. It's okay. I can relate.
You know what? It's all on his play calling. It's terrible. Whoever told this guy that you're an offensive coordinator, ridiculous. But what's the answer? That's the problem with Sperano is that we're stuck with him, and he's just not doing the right thing. Now I go back to my comment I made before about Sanchez's passing. In the Colts game, 82 yards. You say, oh yeah, but so what? They won the game. Yeah, but if they're running the ball that effective, okay, and the Colts are going to concentrate on Green running the ball because he's been so effective, change it up. Let Sanchez throw down the field. Let him get a little confidence. Let him get some complete passes because he doesn't have any confidence right now. I don't think he does, and I want to see them open it up a little bit more. This team, you knew you were going to be able to run this team because they were hurting. Okay, so you have that in the bag. Then, okay, you have a lead, let him throw the ball. Fake the run, let him throw the ball. I can't stress enough that 82 yards and they win the game. Okay, fine, but you know what? He's going to need more confidence. He's going to need more. More throws. He needs to get more into a rhythm because that running game is not always going to be there, and that's not going to be there against New England. I'm telling you.
No, I know it's not going to be there against New England, and Sperano is a total moron in my opinion. Total, and it irks me that this whole Tim Tebow thing. It's almost like they're saving things. They're saving. Oh no, we got all kinds of stuff for Tebow. Well, when are you going to use it? We didn't see it in preseason, so we all said, well, they're just saving it because it's preseason. It'll come out in the regular season. Well, here we are in week 7, and all I've seen Tim Tebow do is on special teams. On the offense, he's done nothing that's really been so fantastic. He threw one really good pass that was ended up being fumbled. So I mean, what are you saving it for? This is a team that's going to have all these secret plays in their playbook, and they're saving them for a time they're never going to get to use them. They're just not putting themselves in a position to win ball games. They're thinking too far ahead. But with all that said, every team in the AFC East is tied at 500 with a 3-3 record. The Jets actually are technically in first place because they have the best divisional record. They go up against New England. Hold that thought because let's start talking about the games this week so we can give a little extra time with them. The first game we got going on is the Buffalo Bills against the Tennessee Titans. How do you see that game going?
I like the Bills in that game. The Titans, they're last in rushing with 70 yards a game. Chris Johnson is he's fallen off the face of the earth when it comes to running the ball. He's averaging 3.3 yards. I mean, we think we have problems. They have problems. The Bills, after their 2 losses in a row, they came back and they beat Arizona last week. I like them at home. So, I'm picking the Bills.
I agree with you. I think the Bills are underrated. It's a team that in the AFC that I said in the beginning of the year that I was scared to face the most, being a Jet fan. I still feel that way. This is a team that is under a first-year coach, and I believe it's his first year or his second year, and they're developing. They're going to be there. They're even with the Jets and the Patriots right now, and I too like the Bills in that game. The second game, and a lot of these games are tough to pick today, Mikey. The second game, Minnesota's home. They're the favorite, and they're taking on Arizona. Arizona's one of these surprise teams. Who do you like in this one?
I like Minnesota. The Cards have lost 2 in a row, and now Cobb is out. They got Skelton in. They allow a league worst 28 sacks this season, and Minnesota has a dominant front 7. So Minnesota at home with Jared Allen and company, I think they're going to give the offense of Arizona a fit. I see them winning, and I think winning handily, covering I think it's a 6-point spread.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you only because of the injury to the starting quarterback for the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals. I like what they're doing this year, and I'm really torn. If we were picking with points, I'd probably go with the Cards, but I, too, am going with the Vikings. And, hey, listen, I forgot to give you credit, and I didn't do it purposely. Going into this week, let me go back. Going into the last time we were together, I'll admit I was a little cocky. I was up 6 games, and you calmly admitted that it was going to be tough to pick up on. Well, you gained 3, and right now, going into this week, I'm only up three games. I mean, I could be behind 3 games after this week, so congratulations to Brooklyn Mikey on that. And I'll tone it down a little bit because I don't want to have to be forced to eat dirt when he's mushing my face into the ground. But the next game is I think a real tough one. Indianapolis Colts. Your new favorite team against the Cleveland Browns. The Colts are home. They're the favorite. Who do you like?
Even though the Colts, their run defense is ranked 29th in the league, and that was evident against the Jets. Trent Richardson is a little banged up, so I don't know if he's going to be. I doubt he's going to be 100%. He leads the AFC in rushing with rookies for 340 yards. I like the Colts at home. I actually picked them 2 weeks ago to beat Green Bay, which they did, which actually helped me, catch up to you. Because they are playing at home, I think they're going to come back from this Jet beatdown that they went through. I mean, Andrew Luck is a much better quarterback than he showed in the Meadowlands. I like the Colts to win this game.
I think the Colts, and I think Andrew Luck, I never thought I'd be saying this 7 weeks into his first year as a professional, especially the words that are about to come out of my mouth, but I think he's successfully helping the Indianapolis Colts fans forget about Peyton Manning. He's playing phenomenal. It's luck mania going on in Indianapolis. Normally you would say, coming after a beatdown like that, and they've been competitive in every single game at home, they should right the ship. However, I'm a big Trent Richardson fan. I have the Browns as a sleeper team. I know he's banged up, but you know what? Even a banged-up Richardson, if the Jets, Sean Green, was able to run all over the Colts at the or it's not even the Meadowlands anymore, at Jet Giant Stadium, Trent Richardson ought to do well, even banged up. I'm picking the Browns in an upset over the Colts in that one. The next game is another extremely tough one to pick. Your boys that you picked to win it all, actually, Houston Texans are taking on the Ray Lewis-less Ravens. Who do you like in that one?
I don't think this is a tough game. I see the Texans running all over Baltimore. The fact that Ray is out, and even when Ray was in there, this team was ranked 27th against the run. They're going against the best running back in football in Arian Foster. Texans are playing at home. They were just embarrassed by the Green Bay Packers on national television. Joe Flacco is no Aaron Rodgers. I like the Texans in this one. I think they're going to control the ball with the run, and their defense is definitely one of the better defenses in the National Football League. I see this as an easy win for the Texans.
If it was any other game, any other day, any other situation, I would agree 100%. However, I have this strange feeling that, a lot of teams in the NFL, even a team that doesn't win a lot, when there's something emotionally charged up, they play differently. A real good example of that is the game that Indianapolis played and won against the Packers, the one that you picked. That game, they had something to play for. I think the Ravens have something to play for, and that is Ray Lewis. Although I think the Texans are a better team than the Baltimore Ravens, I'm picking the Ravens in an upset to beat the Texans. I think that Flacco, this is his year. They do have, for the first time, they have a stronger offense, and I think it's going to boil down to a field goal or something. I think the Ravens are going to upset the Texans in this one, so I'm going against you again. The next game is the renewed Green Bay Packers going up against the St. Louis Rams. I don't like anything from St. Louis, so I'll tell you right now, I don't even have to wait for your pick. I'm picking the Packers. Who do you like?
Actually, this is my upset of the week. Like I picked the Colts to beat the Packers. I'm picking the Rams. Only because they do play well at home. I like Fisher. I've always been a fan of Jeff Fisher, the coach, who coached the Titans for many years. He has his team playing well, and they do keep things close. Stingy against the run, even though the Packers won't be running the ball that much. But Greg Jennings is still out. They do have injuries in their defense with Nick Perry and Sam Shields. It's going to be a close game. I think they're going to obviously double up on Jordy Nelson, and I'm picking the Rams in an upset, but very close. I think like a 2-3 point game.
Yeah. Well, I hate everything from St. Louis, so like I said, I'm going against you. I'm picking the Packers. There's the three. There's three differences right there. You could be even with us going into even with me going into next week. So very easily with those three.
Did you hang up on me?
Yeah, I tried. Those three picks could get us even right now. Those last three we differ on. Going into the next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys going up against the Carolina Panthers. As much as we all love the Panthers, I got to go with Dallas. I think as early as the season is, they're kind of in a must-win situation. I think they're going to win on Sunday. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the Panthers are in disarray. They've lost 3 straight, 10 points in their last 2 home games, not playing well on either side of the ball. Yes, this is a must-win for. When it comes to NFC East, every game is a must-win because they're such a tight race. And the Cowboys defend the pass better than any team in the NFL right now. I like the Cowboys. I don't think this game is going to be close. Even though they don't have DeMarco Murray, I think Felix Jones will do enough against that. If you want to call it a defense that the Panthers put on the field. I like the Cowboys going away in this game.
The next game pains me so, but the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, as we talked earlier, all poor team. They're all suffering from attention deficit disorder, and they're allowed to take steroids to combat that. It's it's a shame. They're at home against a team that I absolutely love, Mike. I love the Washington Redskins because of RG3, but the bottom line is RG might be a little having a hard time paying attention himself after getting rattled. And, as much as I think they're a sleeper team, again, it pains me so to have to pick the Giants in this game to beat my Skins. I think the Giants are going to beat the Redskins. What do you think?
Well, here's our fourth different pick, because I'm picking the Skins in this game. The Giants just don't play the NFC East well. They always right now they're 0-2. They're the worst against their division. And, even though their offensive line has been playing great, Eli hasn't been sacked in the last 3 games. He's the league-leading passer with over 1,700 yards. They just, I'm going to say, fall apart, when they play Washington. And I think now that Washington has a formidable quarterback in RG3 who, not only passes well, but I mean, what did he run for 400 yards last week? Something like that. I mean, the guy's incredible. I've never seen anybody run as fast. I mean, he makes Michael Vick look slow. That's how good he is. And the emergence of the rookie Alfred Morris, who's been fantastic. I think they're gonna give the Giants everything that they can handle and win this game in the Meadowlands. I see it being fairly close, but I can't see Washington losing to them. I see them getting a W.
I'm changing my pick. You sold it on me, man. You sold it because I hate the Giants, and I wanted the Redskins, and I'm trying to be, and I'm thinking he's banged up and everything else. But you're right. He had a good game last week, and I like Shanahan. I like what he's doing, and that running back that you mentioned is actually a surprise. I mean, I think he was like a 5th round or 6th round draft pick, and I'm changing my pick. I'm going with the Skins, damn it, and that's it. I'm allowed to change. We didn't end this game yet, so you're still only 3 different than me. So, but here's the next game. Maybe we'll change on this one. New Orleans Saints against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa Bay is the home team, but they're the underdog. Who do you like in this one?
I like the Bucks at home. Saints got their first win. Okay, Drew Brees has his record, but they're still not that good. Their defense, is terrible. I think they are last in the league, and I think Doug Martin and Blunt are gonna run up and down the field on these guys, control the ball, control the time, possession, and do enough to win. Especially at home. If it was playing in New Orleans, I might I might be swayed to pick the Saints, but in a fairly close game, I like the Bucks coming out on top.
Well, we knew we were going to have more than 3, and even though I changed my last pick, you got your 4th difference right now, because I think the Saints are going to start to go on a little roll here. I think they're going to start with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is surprising everybody by winning a few games, but I think they're a bad team, really. And I think this week the Saints are going to expose them and come out on top. So I'm picking the Saints in this game against the Bucks. I'm picking the Saints. So the next game we're going to be picking is Mike's Jets Jets against the Patriots. This is a game that I've never been more confident about in my life of picking who I'm going to pick. Who do you like in this game?
Patriots. I said it before. I think they're going to cover that high spread. It's the first time in a long time that they've ever been this big a favorite over the Jets. I just think that high octane, fast paced offense that they've been the no huddle that they've been using, I think they're just going to wear down the Jet defense, which they haven't been playing well. We all know that. I can't see it going any other way. They're not going to be able to run on the New England team like they ran on the Colts, which means you're going to have more passes by Mr. Sanchez, who, like I said, is below 50% in the league. So you were going to see more Sanchez, and if he loses this game, don't be surprised if Tebow is starting week 8. I like the Pats in a runaway.
The Jets can't stop the New England Patriots' short passing game. They never could. They throw to their tight ends whenever they want. They throw to their running backs whenever they want. They throw to the slanting superstars that the Jets let New England take whenever they want. All of that. They also have the deep threat that always flush out the Jets secondary, which opens up that short passing game. The Jets, the only way to get pressure on Brady is to blitz him, which keeps that opener to field and the short passing game open. I agree with you that the Jets are not going to run on New England the way they did, and the Jets defense is going to be have their backs up against the wall. But with all that said, and considering that the spread opened up at 12 on Sunday night, on Monday morning, and it's down to 10 right now, that's an indication that the people are betting on the Jets with the points. Now, here's the thing. I believe that Rex Ryan is going to be forced to keep his defense kind of disciplined today or tomorrow. I think that what that means is he's going to concentrate and rely on his front four to put pressure on Brady. Now, whether he gets pressure on Brady or not, that's going to be the question of the year. But because he's going to be a little more disciplined, I think the Jets will do a little better at shutting that short passing game down. Now, maybe they get burned deep. I don't know. But here's the thing. I'm picking the Jets. I think the Jets are going to shock everybody and win this game. It's going to be an ugly game, and I think the Jets are going to win. I'm very confident that the Jets are going to win this game. As bad as I think the Jets are, they're going to win this game. I'm picking the Jets. We got 5 differences right here. The next game, the Raiders are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who do you like in this one?
Jaguars are awful. They're giving up an average over 260 yards passing and 160 yards running. Raiders are at home. You're going to see a lot of McFadden. You're going to see a lot of Carson Palmer. This one's not going to be close. I like the Raiders in this one. I'm going with the Raiders. I think the Raiders are an underappreciated team. I think they're actually better than their record indicates. I just am shocked that they haven't been playing better than they are. I thought that they were going to be one of those sleeper teams. I think we talked about that before the season started. I'm going with the Raiders as well. The next game is the Bengals against Pittsburgh in Cincinnati. Pittsburgh's a slight favorite. Pittsburgh's got some troubles. Are they going to win? No. I like Cincinnati, even though they lost 2 straight after going 3-1. The Steelers have not had a losing record this late in the season since 2006. They got a lot of key injuries to key players. Bengals have a very, very good pass rush. They're second in the league with 20 sacks. Roethlisberger is going to be running for his life all night. At AJ Green he's the real thing, man. I look back at my fantasy picks, and I should have picked him over Julio Jones. But that being said, I like Cincinnati. To cover this. Actually, they're underdog. I like Cincinnati outright. I'm agreeing with you. I'm going with Cincinnati. I think Pittsburgh's on the way down. Don't ever talk negative about Julio Jones. I love him. Ex-Alabama player. Love that guy. I wish the Jets had him and Trent, whatever his name is. What's his name? Trent Richardson. Richardson. I was going to say Wilkinson, but Trent Richardson. Finally, Monday Night Football. The Bears are playing against Detroit. Tough pick when you think about it. This is clearly the old days, black and blue division. I'm picking the Bears. Who do you like? Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a close game. Next to Mark Sanchez, Matt Stafford has been, just a little bit better. I mean, he has very unlike Stafford numbers, going into week 7 of this season. Bears defense, ranks 3rd in the league, averaging 200, giving up 291 yards per game. Cutler and Brandon Marshall seem to be getting into a much better groove. They're playing in Chicago. This is a division game. I see the Bears easily winning by at least 10 points in this game.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bears too. No question about that. All right. Well, we got 5 differences of opinion, so we'll have to wait and see if I can stay ahead or if you make the move on me. So good luck this week. And finally, as we like to wrap it up the way we always do, on this day in New York sports history, October 20th, back in 1953, Mikey, Keith Hernandez, I know you heard of him. I was a little surprised. I didn't think he was actually he's 9 years older than me. I thought he was actually around the same age. Keith Hernandez is born on this day in 1953. He was born in San Francisco. He hit over 300 three times and was the field general for the 1986 Mets. He hit over 300 three times with the Mets after he was traded by the Cardinals in 1983. Also on this day, October 20th, in 1963, Clem Daniels of the Oakland Raiders rushed for 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns in a 49-26 win over the Jets. On this day, October 20th, in 1976, in their first season in the NBA after the ABA-NBA merger, the Nets sell Julius Erving to the 76ers. What a bummer that was. That took place in 1976. And another happy day for Mikey and myself on this day, October 20th in 2004, with 3 outs left to be swept in the ALCS 3 nights earlier. The Boston Red Sox beat the Yankees 10-3 in Game 7 to become the first Major League Baseball team to overcome a 3-0 postseason deficit in 2004. And that's what took place on this day in those years. Any final thoughts, my man?
It's funny. Somebody asked me the other day, actually yesterday, as a matter of fact, I had what looked to be a Yankee shirt on, and someone said, "Oh, sorry about your team," and I said, "Look at the shirt closely. I have a Yankee shirt, and the emblem, it says Chokers, and it refers to the 2004 loss to the Boston Red Sox. So I thought that was kind of funny that you brought that up. Listen, I'm just looking forward to next week because I'll definitely be up on you in our picks, and I can do a little bragging.
Okay, well, hey man, I hope you at least get a little closer. I mean, 3 games is a comfortable lead for me. We do have 5 differences of opinions. I'm a little disappointed that you constantly pick against the Jets, but they'll come around and bite you in the ass. There's no question about that. But I'm glad I changed my pick. I was going to go against the Redskins, and if the Giants win, I'll be crying about that next week. But I'm looking forward to next week, my man. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the Tigers because that was a good pick for you there. And I'm rooting for the Tigers from here on out. So make sure you stop by with us next week. We'll be here. Hey, man. Until next time, ciao, baby.